Hello, hello! In 2023, should you get the Aerox 5? Nope. Thanks for watching. Well, jokes aside, I'm definitely a fan of Steelseries mice. This ranges from the Rival series to the Prime, and now to the Aerox line. Their QC, I find, has always been fantastic and flawless. In my previous video about my Aerox 3, I do have my complaints, and the saying goes, however, minor flaws are some of the things that give something its charm. Aerox 5 is no different. In my personal opinion, one of these flaws is the overhanging lip of the right side of the mice, which prevents me from fully extending my fingers, and also I feel that the thumb groove is recessed way too far into the body. Other than that, the performance of the Aerox 5 has been flawless. There's no spin out, it's responsive, and the tracking is absolutely fine. What I do have issues with my Aerox 5 is the disassembly process. With perforated shells like Glorious, Final Mouse, and others, dirt, dust, hair, and other particles will inevitably end up inside the body. Granted, the internal design has covers shielding any particulates away from the sensor, but it's always a good idea to kind of keep the insides of your mouse clean. This is the problem I have with the Aerox 5. It's designed not to allow for user disassembly unless the user intends to break something. There are two front clips that secures the front of the shell to the base of the mouse. These two clips are hooks which probably require special tools to safely detach. Regular straight tools like your spudge tool or any type of plastic rod, you're unable to get through the clearance with all the tech that's inside the mouse. A makeshift tool, which goes around the hardware in very narrow crevices and space, is needed. When I was working on the mouse, I have definitely gotten off lucky. I was only able to break the tip of the hooks without damaging any of the chassis. Fortunately, breaking the hook doesn't affect the build quality since most of the tension are secured through the 4 screws on the base. On top of that, disassembling the set of buttons on the left side is a rather delicate procedure. The top piece, which is meant to move up and down, is connected to this thin piece of plastic. The first time disassembling the mouse, I almost broke the piece off the base hinge. Ultimately, it can be done, but the Aerox 5 requires far more attention compared to the Aerox 3 or any other mouse I've worked on. Now, to the right side of the mouse, in order for you to disassemble the right side piece, it requires a small Phillips head bit and a wrench, or anything that allows for tight clearance in order for you to take out the screws. Generally, disassembling the Aerox 5 does take a little bit of more work, and for me, in my opinion, it's a pain to work with. For this video, I had to take apart the Aerox 5 roughly 3 times, because I keep forgetting taking image of trying to illustrate what I'm trying to say. And although it does get easier each time, I still wouldn't recommend users getting the Aerox 5 and disassembling it. Users could definitely try to keep the mouse clean via air compressors. However, for me, there's still some hair and debris that does get into nooks and crannies, which prompts me to disassemble everything and try to clean it. However, it's not all doom and gloom. I still think the TTC Gold implementation on the Aerox 5 is way better than the implementations on the Aerox 3. The mouse itself glides perfectly fine. As stated previously, I haven't experienced any tracking, any spin out, any kind of issues like that. I also haven't experienced any polling rate issues. Granted, I don't have any equipment to fully test it, but online testing, data packages seem to receive just fine, no disconnection issues. And much like any other reviewers have been stating that it still uses the Steelseries TrueMove Air, it's a bit of a dated sensor. However, despite that, it still functions perfectly fine with me. So for those who are interested in buying the Aerox 5 wireless, it is a fully capable mouse, but just keep in mind that further cleaning and disassembly will be a very, very big problem. For me, again, I'm fortunate to only break very minor parts. However, for the sake of people who are interested in modding it, just keep that in mind, and that just might be enough to dissuade you and probably look for something else. The Aerox 3 doesn't have that kind of issue, and if I were to get my hands on an Aerox 9, from other reviewers, it doesn't seem like they have an issue disassembling it too. So in conclusion, the Aerox 5 is definitely a hard mouse to disassemble, and if users do try to disassemble it, there's a pretty high chance for those 2 clips up in front to break. I do hope this video is able to answer some folks' question about the Aerox 5 wireless and the disassembly process and how difficult it can be. And I also hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks!